folks, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to Week in Review. Dice Tower reviews board games. We do a lot of reviews each week. This is one video that you can watch each week that gives you a capsule review of all the reviews we've done. And then if you say, oh, I'd like to learn more about that particular game, you can go check out a full review of it. So let's get started.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Week in Review. I'm at Dice Tower headquarters this time. So anyway, I was able to do 4 videos for you this week. First one was able to put together Throat Punch Lunch, Episode 8, Breaking the Mold. So go check that out. A lot of cool segments that you can look at for Amerithrashy type games and some other fringe benefits of the hobby. So check out that one. I was also able to do a review for Firefly, the game expansion called Kalidasa, and it brings a lot of cool stuff to the game. Some of the stuff is neither here nor there. It doesn't add a whole lot to the game, but it does make that universe, expands the universe, makes it a little bit more rich. So check that one out. I was also able to do a review for Super 11. This is a family weight soccer simulation game, or I'm sorry, football simulation game for all of you people on the other side of the pond. And it's definitely family weight, though. There's a minimal level of tactics and strategy, but there's also die rolling for movement, and you flip over cards to see if you score and who gets red cards and yellow cards, that type of stuff. So check that out. Really cool family weight soccer game. And then I was also able to do Dust Tactics 1947. Now, I've already done a video about this, but it was for a comparison of the new ways that they are that Dust Studios is releasing this game. They're coming out with pre-painted miniatures for it, and you can buy them in a whole lot of different levels. So I've already done that video. This one, though, is a gameplay video. How you actually play the game should give you a good idea of how the game works out on the table. So go check that one out as well, and that is it. See you on the flip side.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Last week I did 4 reviews, and we also put out a best of the month where a bunch of us got together, tell you the best game we played that month, why we liked it so much. Go check that out. The games I reviewed were Guns and Steel Renaissance, the sequel to Guns and Steel, and I like the sequel much better. I thought it cleaned up some of the rules. It's sort of a civ building card game, but a very simple one, and you are just advancing your civilization through time. If you ever played the first one and you were on it, this is better. And if you never heard of the first one, then this is a solid card game with a decent amount of stuff going on. I also reviewed Time Bomb 2, yet another sequel to Time Bomb. And in this case, I thought the sequel was a little bit weaker than the original. It's got more rules. It's a social deduction game. And it loses the simplicity of the original, which was spectacular. It's a very fun game. Recently got reprinted as Don't Mess with Cthulhu, the first one did. And this second one is okay, but fiddly. It lost a little something. I also reviewed Trick of the Rails, a trick-taking game with what I thought would be a really boring theme, that of stock manipulation, or stock holding, really, and building train companies. And yeah, the theme is kind of boring, but the gameplay is interesting, and the game is short, it's quick, it cuts right to it. It gives you a nice amount of choices. I like it. And lastly, I did Evolution: The Beginning, which is the same game as Evolution, but simplified, streamlined, made for the mass market, if you would, and it works well. It's simpler to explain. It has a fewer cards, so the powers are, there's not that many different things you need to learn in order to get into it. It simplifies turn structure, which I liked a lot. And I think my only complaint would be, well, if you already played the original, this is possibly too simple for you, and that the game is maybe a little long still. But that's it. Other than that, it's a very solid product. That's it for me. I will see you next time.
All right, we're going to start off here with Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool Yahtzee. Now, I think Yahtzee is an okay game. This Deadpool Yahtzee, though, which has a Battle Yahtzee variant in it, is just awful. Terrible. It's the components aren't that great to begin with. The game itself is just a random mess of a game. Makes Yahtzee worse. Then we have Berg Flatterstein. Berg Flatterstein is a catapult game where you're hitting little felt bats up into a castle. Sounds like an interesting idea, and it is kind of an interesting idea, but it's just too random for the stuff to land properly, and kids will find, it's a kids game, they'll find themselves frustrated by playing it. Then we have Pirate Lords. Pirate Lords is also really not that great of a game. In it, you are trying to get different treasure from pirate ships, and players are going to be negotiating with each other. It sounds interesting, but the fact is there's too few cards in the game. There's just not enough there for it to be an interesting game, not enough good negotiation able to go on. Then we have Fight for Olympus. This is a very easy-going, two-player Greek game where you're playing cards on your side, trying to control different areas, fighting each other. It's very simple. It's casual fun in the sense that I play it, put some cards out, offer some interesting choices, but for the most part, very random and just kind of we'll see how it plays out. There's not a lot of thought, heavy decisions to make over the course of the game. Epic. These are the expansions for Epic here. These are 4 different packs. I think that would have been better probably. You're going to get all 4. You're going to get none of them, really. Although I do show you in my review what's in each of the packs in case you only want to get one of them. It's more stuff, more cards. This does allow you to do a little bit more deck building, and I do like that a lot. Mythe. This is a very unusual game, and I think you're not going to be able to play it too many times in a row because it will wear out that unusual theme where you're essentially pulling cards from other people's hands to play them. And you're trying to guess who has the good cards and who has the cards that will end my turn. There's a bit of a push your luck aspect. There's actually some strategy at the end of a turn, who you give cards to. It's neat, it's fun, it's interesting. I just don't know if it has long-term viability. Harry Potter. I mean, really, just saying those words, some people are going to love the game or not. The game is actually much better than I expected. It's Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle deck building game. It's a cooperative game. Think Ascension, games like that. Working together, there's 7 boxes in it. You have these like 7 variations of the game based on the 7 books in the series, and they just add more complexity to the game as you go by and add new characters and things. So there's a lot of replayability to it, an enjoyable game. Heroes of Kaskaria. This one I was very impressed with. This one also has a Harry Potter look to it, where you're a wizard trying to get to the top of a mountain, running up on top of a griffin or a cliff runner, and playing cards, drawing cards. It teaches kids some very basic game ways to play games as to when should you play cards, when do you draw cards. Really cool artwork, very much like this one. Then we have, where are we now? Scythe, an expansion for Scythe. Well, people love Scythe, so they're going to want expansion. I just saw someone talking about this expansion saying it's a ripoff. It's not a ripoff. It adds 2 more factions. That's it. Just 2 new factions. But the original game was already expensive enough. You don't want to have to buy 7 factions. This new one lets you go up to 7. Don't do that. But it does offer 2 new interesting factions with traps and things. I really like it, and also green and purple. So those are some cool colors. But I think it's worth getting. If you like it, you're like, oh, I want some more factions to choose from. Here you go. And let's see. We started with Deadpool. Let's end with Deadpool. So Deadpool Dice Masters is a new expansion for Dice Masters. You know, I love Dice Masters in all its incarnations. This one's a silly expansion because it has Deadpool and Kidpool and Dogpool and Lady Deadpool, but it also has Phantom X, and it has a lot of really cool characters in the set, some new special abilities. One that when you buy cards, things happen, and when you put the dice out, things will happen, and also just it's still keeping the game fairly basic. So check out my review, and I also talk about my 10 favorite cards from that set. We also did some more Essen preview videos this past week, and a lot of we did some live Q&As and things that you can check out. So lots of stuff on our channel. You can find all of it at dicetower.com. Until next time, I'm Tom Bassel. This has been Week in Review on the Dice Tower.